I'm hoping you've had a lovely Easter weekend wherever you are in the world. Very sad news today that the Pope has passed away, but he made Easter Sunday. Good for him. But we are going to be working with 2 decks from the Seasons of a Witch series, and one is for Beltane for the Northern Hemisphere, and the other is for Samhain in the Southern Hemisphere. So can somebody write a comment, because this is the issue I have. I can't actually see any comments yet, so I need to just fiddle around with that for a minute. Hello, Sandra Romero. I can see you all. Great, thank you. So let's start with just a little grounding, and then I'm going to ask who wants some card readings. And when you ask for your card reading, I want you to either say north or south. And that is because in the Northern Hemisphere, you are heading into Beltane, the quickening time of the year. And in the Southern Hemisphere, you are heading into Samhain. Ignore October the 31st for Halloween if you are in the Southern Hemisphere. I know all the merchandising comes out then, but you are now heading into the winter of the year. So we need to work with each hemisphere. Okay, right. Let's just take a couple of breaths in and let the music wash over you. Welcome. So I think this is my first live by myself for about 5 years, because I was terrified of it. Couldn't work the technology out. So just take a couple of breaths in and breathe down to your feet. You can imagine that you're looking at a big, strong tree and casting your eyes down the trunk. Hello, Nicola. I think I know you. And when your eyes meet the ground, just feel and imagine your own roots growing out of your body and merging with that beautiful tree that you see in front of you. I don't know the tree you're thinking of, so I'm just drawing the Ogham for the grove. How are you doing, Nicola? I hope you're all right. It's been a while since we spoke. Take another couple of breaths in. And now I want you to imagine a beautiful candle flame at the center of your being. Let's use this for our candle flame. It's the right color, isn't it? And just imagine expanding that flame to each side of you. This is your God spark, so we're going to push that out into our aura so that you're pushing out the emotions that others are putting upon you. And expand this fire, this beautiful light of yours out and out, to the left and the right, to the front and the back, to above and below. And extend that fire just a couple of inches around your auric field. And relax. And relax. Nobody wants anything from you at this moment, and nobody needs anything from you in this moment. I'm going to draw the Reiki symbols now. I'm going to draw the Seihei key for cleansing. Push that into you. Then I'm going to draw the chakra for activation. And I'm going to draw the distant healing symbol to travel up and down the timelines so that people who come in and watch this later, it will work for them as well. And finally, the master symbol, the daikumyo, to bring harmony to you wherever you are. Take a breath in and again, breathe out and relax. And relax. And I'm going to pick Sandra a card first. I need to know where you live in the world. Are you Northern Hemisphere or Southern Hemisphere? Hi, Lorraine. Another one of my friends. So, Sandra, where are you living in the world, north or south? I have a feeling you said Florida, but I might be wrong. Yeah, in Florida, I was right. Okay, I'm just going to shuffle these cards now. So congratulations on your new job. It'll be a little bit daunting, but you'll smash it, I am sure. Okay, so the Beltane Oracle for Sandra down in Florida. She's down from me. She might be up from some of you guys. What does Sandra need? Sandra, you need a flower crown. I'm going to read the message on this card. Wear your power proudly and unapologetically, for it is your birthright and is eternal like your soul. What a nice card to get for for Beltane. So what are the significance of these flower crowns? Well, flowers lighten, higher your vibration. So if you put these beautiful flowers, they all have their own healing properties at this time of year. But even if you make a little daisy chain and pop it on your head, that energy is going to filter, that beauty and that pureness is going to filter into your crown and into your third eye. And those healing properties will then be emitted to you, those spiritual properties as well. So I want you to imagine, before you go to this new job, Sandra, imagine yourself weaving a flower garland and place it on your head before you get out of the car, and then walk with a good stature, being proud of yourself into your new job. So I'm going to leave that with you, Sandra. Okay, let me just go back up and see. Okay, so I've got someone in the Philippines. Are you Northern Hemisphere or Southern Hemisphere? I think you're Northern Hemisphere, so I'm going to give you a Beltane, whoever is in the Philippines. I've lost her name again. Let me just travel down. Irvin. Okay, what does Irvin need to know? You have got Goddess card. Make sure you feel it in your bones, for you are what you believe. And again, this comes back to this card of being proud of yourself. You are a beautiful being in a beautiful body, and you deserve to feel that. So stand in your own power. And remember, okay, people judge what they see, but they don't know the real you until you open your mouth and you say the beauty that is within your soul. So keep it beautiful, everyone. Keep it goddess-centrified or God-centrified. And remember just to be yourself and feel yourself in your bones. I'm going to leave that with you as well. Okay. So Sandra's this is just what I need before her first day of the training job. Good. I'm going to pick a card for Nicola. Now, I know you're in the Northern Hemisphere because you live not too far from me. So what does Nicola need to know now? Nicola, hand fastings. Okay, so hand fastings, for those who don't know what they were a commitment. It was a marriage. In the old days, you had a chance at around Beltane and at the August harvest, they would do hand fastings. These were contracts, and they tied a ribbon round their arms like they do in many churches today. And you would be bound to that person for a year and a day. Then if you didn't get on, you could walk away with no fuss and bother and try again with someone else. Much easier than divorce. So I'm going to read Sandra this. Now, don't panic. You don't have to get married or anything like that. This is a commitment to yourself, a commitment to something that you enjoy doing, a project or new learning. And the card says, the pulls pulse through all that I am. No hidden form is left untouched. I am willing, I am risking, for I yearn for unity spilled lustrously upon my lips. So making those commitments to yourself. Now these two look like they could be Melissa, don't they? Because they have the bee necklace. So blessings of Delphi and the Pythia and the Muses, who were also known as bee goddesses. Okay. Right. So I'm also going to pull one out for Lorraine, who is one town over from me. And then I've got my friends out of the way. So Lorraine, Phoenix Lorraine. And it says, summoned, your flesh rises from the ashes and into the expansive flame of your soul. Now, Lorraine is a personal friend of mine, and we do angelic Reiki together. And that, Lorraine, is you, isn't it? Rising out of all the trials and tribulations that are thrown towards us, and rising from those ashes, regeneration, and going back out to enjoy your summer. Okay. Righty ho. Okay. Sylvio from New York City. Sylvio, what is it that you need to know right now? Okay. The Lover's card. Okay, the Lovers in Tarot is not about your soulmate, it's about choices, okay? But this is not Tarot, so let's see what this card says for Sylvio the Wolf. Love lulls all sorrow and bewitches flesh, mind and breath, reminding me that I am unafraid of the unfurling winds of my eternity. So if there is not anyone in your life, perhaps doing those things that you wish to do that make you happy, it is all about making ourselves happy, but it is as well about making others happy. But if you've tried and you've tried again and it doesn't work, then cut your losses. Do you know what I mean? Concentrate on yourself, but also being, what's the word, conscientious about how your actions affect others as well. So find something that you love doing, and all of those sorrows will be banished away. You will not feel lonely when you have found your hobby and what you enjoy doing, and making good choices. Okay. Now I'm just going to... Hello, Aditi Singh from India. I'm going to pull a Beltane card for you, and Beltane is the quickening of the season. It is all about fertility. We're starting to get out and about. It doesn't necessarily mean fertility from your loins. It means fertility from your mind, from your heart. It's about getting up and doing things. So when I say fertility, do not blanch at that. Okay. Right, Aditi, Maiden is the card for you. Beautiful picture here with the sun and all those butterflies and bees morphing around. Demand what is yours, Aditi, and take back what was taken. Reclaim until you've gathered it all to you. So this could be something quite trivial and small, but that dented you, or it could be something big, something nasty that happened to you. I did do a soul retrieval meditation a few weeks back. I can't remember what I call it. Was on the equinox. So if it is something that has happened that has dented your confidence and affected your life, go back and have a look at my solar eclipse meditation about flying through the sun and regenerating and calling those parts of your soul that you lost back towards you. The bees are pollinators, butterflies are as well, but they have slightly different spiritual meanings. The butterfly is metamorphosing, and the bee is about community. Okay. Tommy Davidson, what do I need to reassure me it's all right? Sorry, what do I need to reassure me all is okay for my oral surgery? Faith is the answer for that. Faith in your doctors and your nurses. They've got a job to do. They don't want to do it sloppy because they'll get bad recommendations. So you need to trust that these people know what they're doing and how they're doing it, and that they will be working for your highest good. I'm guessing you're in America where they're getting the money. In the UK, we can go privately if we want to be seen quicker, but we have a national health service. It is about trust. They have probably done this oral surgery hundreds of times before. I've had oral surgery, many oral surgeries, and it has taught me to get over my fear of dentists. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But just ground and protect. And if you're going to be awake through this, ask them if you can put your iPod in and just listen to some nice, gentle meditations, okay, and get you through it. You can ask Archangel Raphael to come and just imagine him putting his hands on your shoulders. Do all your grounding, your protecting, and breathing through it, okay? If I have got over huge 2 weeks in hospital with, basically nuts and bolts in and, wired up cages, and that was 15 years ago. I did lose the teeth in COVID because we couldn't get in, and it has dented my confidence, but I always had the trust that the doctors know what they're doing. Life is a trust lesson, isn't it? We trust that those people driving on the road have taken the driving test so they know what they're doing. We are trusting all the time. So it is a big thing, but it's also a little thing because you're trusting all of the time. You're trusting the woman to do the cashier work in the shop correctly. You're trusting people all of the time. And trust in yourself. You'll get through it. Just do that slow breathing. Imagine that I'm perhaps talking you through a grounding. Put one of the meditations on and listen to it as they're doing the work. Okay. Okay, Bear Dog from Virginia. What does Bear Dog need? Oh, got the bottom card for you, the Oak Tree. Don't just look within, bear dog. Dive deeply into eternal realms of knowing. I think you are being told to get outside and to meditate. Find a nice tree that you want to sit in front of and open yourself up and absorb that energy. The oak tree, the dewy air, I'm just going to draw that into you now. The dewy air, which is where we get our word druid from. The tree is not just a tree, it is a habitat. It is the world, isn't it, pretty much, for all of those little ants crawling up and down, those cardinals sitting in the top, the squirrels, the birds and everything else, the owl, the lichens on it. They take hundreds of years to form, so they know nothing else apart from the fresh air that blows to them and the tree they're living on. You too will be like a support system to those people around you. So tap into the dewy air to the oak. And I would say to you, get out now the weather's getting better and take a walk either around your neighborhood or go to the park or somewhere natural. Okay. Thank you, Tommy. Have I pulled a card for you? I don't think I have, but I will because you've gifted something. Tommy, can you just tell me what hemisphere you are living in? For those of you who've come in after I began, I'm using a Beltane and a Samhain deck because the two hemispheres are opposite. So I need you to say where you live, in the north or the south. Okay, Tommy, northern. I've got lots of Beltane people here today. Okay, Tommy. Tommy, indulgence. You are worth every desire and dream. Demand what is yours and demand what you need. But I would also add a caveat to that, Tommy. Don't take more than you need and don't demand more than you deserve, okay? Remember, this is all for us. We don't want to trash everyone else's dreams and trample over them. So indulge yourself. There's a nice full moon there. So perhaps, I think we've got full moon coming up in about a week. It's a week yesterday. So indulge yourself next full moon. Have that lovely bath with essential oils. Put some candles, put some nice music on, and really do a little ritual with it. There's a little river going out there, isn't there, as well? So where does that river lead? It leads out to the sea. So whilst you're in your bath, you can imagine putting all of those emotions, those things that you don't want into that river, and imagine the water being carried out to the sea. Okay. Lotus. What a gorgeous name. Were you christened that or did you choose that yourself? Atlanta, Georgia. I know it well. My brother used to live there. So I'm pulling a card out for Lotus. What? Oh, she's in New Jersey. Okay, I haven't been there. What is Lotus going to have today? Manifestation. The message says, sometimes they come as a breeze upon your fingertips. At other times, they dwell in the depths of your soul. It is a dance between you and spirit as the magic unfolds. So what is it you are wishing for? Those big things and those small things. Again, we've got full moon coming up in a week, so start planning how to manifest and what you want to do. If you are going to do a ritual, the more practice you can put into your ritual for your own needs rather than just copying somebody else's, the more you put in, the more you get out. And when you are manifesting, you need to manifest from your solar plexus. So I'm going to leave that with you. Now I have someone from Australia. Jamelia Davis, I hope I pronounced your name right. You are entering Beltane, the dark time of the year. As I said earlier, ignore Halloween on the 31st. It is happening for you on the 30th of this month. So I'm going to pull Jamelia, our first Southern Hemisphere person. What does Jamelia need to know now? First Samhain, bats. Invoke thy power and fear not the hidden. What lurks is coming with undenying change. Okay. So we need to talk about Beltane and Samhain. That is not as scary as it sounds. But these two fire festivals are transformal times of the year. In the Southern Hemisphere, you are walking from the light part of the year through a portal into the dark time of the year. They also say that the energies at Samhain and Beltane are the strongest for, how can I say this? The window for divination is apparently the strongest, and also from for speaking to the dead, particularly at Samhain. That is supposed to be the best time. So you're walking through gateways into transformational things. Now, the bats. What do we know about bats? They like to live in colonies, don't they? Most of them do anyway, but also they don't see, do they? They're listening to everything. They're bouncing their screeches off sonar. So what is around you that you haven't noticed yet? Perhaps you need to sort of stop, pause at this time of the year, so that it'll be the 30th of the 1st of May, that sort of window. You've got a few 3 weeks either side as well. So what is it that you perhaps need to get your spidey senses out for? So I'm going to leave that with you. I also consider bats quite protective as well. I wouldn't like to get bitten by one. They've got big teeth, haven't they? Okay, so there you go, Jamelia. Okay. Andrea, you comment on every post I put up, and I'm so grateful to you because they're always such lovely posts. You are in the Southern Hemisphere as well, so I'm going to pull you a Samhain Halloween card. So what does Andrea El Grillo leave right now? Your card says, greet the darkness. Here where the spine bends and the mouth quivers, breathes the hidden, the pieces that make you whole, but cut deep with all their sharp edges. So I think this is about reconciling yourself and liking those bits that you don't pretty much like. You know, we've all got things in our personalities that we're not quite happy with. You know, love yourself, warts and all, as we say in the UK. Those little bits that perhaps you think are not so nice, they all make you up to be the individual you are. And when you have reconciled yourself to those parts, perhaps you can start working. I'm impatient. That's what I don't like about myself. So I need to work on more patience. I quite like the fact that I'm not patient because I jump ahead and do things. You know, I run before I can walk. That's quite a small thing, but in the past I haven't always been as nice as I am now. And if I haven't been nice to people in the past and I have no contact with them now, I send forgiveness. But forgive yourself as well. It's about liking all the parts of you. I'm going to leave that with you, Andrea. Daz Kaz, hello from Ireland. Oh, the home of the wee people, the Fae. What does Daz need to know right now? The maypole. I am fertile in what I seed, for there is reason to dance and drink upon the riches I receive. So we can make our own little maypole, can't we? I'm just going to sort of show you something. So let's say this is our maypole. It's an Owen. Here we are with Ngatil. This is the reed. So you can make your own little maypole, and you would put some ribbons on it, 3 ribbons, and you could make a plait. And you weave your magic into it, weave your wishes for fertility into that. And when you have woven your little pieces of ribbon, you can pop it up on your altar for the next sort of 6 weeks, and then at the end of that you can go and push it into the soil as a wish, or you can burn it. But you don't have to actually dance the maypole. You can make a little small one, but you could dance it in meditation in your mind, couldn't you? So it is about being fertile. It is about planting those seeds and dancing and drinking upon those riches as well. And remember, we do all have riches. You know, we've got shelter over our heads. We have food on our plate. The small things, you know, there's always somebody worse off than us. So it's about being grateful for what you have as well. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. Calvin from North Carolina, where my aunt lives. Yes, I've never been there. She lives near Sunset Beach. Okay, Calvin in the Northern Hemisphere in the Carolinas. What does Calvin need? Primal, Calvin. There is no other way around but through the very truth that lives within you. Again, it's about being brave. It's about showing who you are. Doing that primal stuff. Perhaps you want to put your favorite music on and dance like no one is watching you. Doing an ecstatic trance dance, something like that. Taking that mask off or putting it on. What are you going to do? But it's about, you know, doing the things that are sort of deep down and dirty, if you like, in a non-rude way. You know, go out and make those mud pies. If you didn't make mud pies as a child, go out and make them now and feed that inner child. You know, going out and getting dirty and getting back to one with nature. So I'm going to leave that with you. Look at that powerful stance. It looks like that is a rattle. Or is it a beehive, portable beehive? And they've got their wand, but it's the stance. It's the stance. It's a being proud and primal. Okay. Sultana from Central Portugal. My son's just come back from Portugal. He had a lovely time. So what does Sultana need to know? Ribbons, Sultana. And we have lots of them here, lots of ribbons for plaiting at Beltane. The message reads, for it lives in the silk on my binding, the knots in my truth, the eye of becoming the witness swallowed in stillness. And we have Herne the Hunter with his horns, embracing the May Queen. So that crossover again in the Northern Hemisphere, that chance for fertility, all of those beautiful ribbons For it lives in the silk of your binding, the knots in my truth, the eye of becoming the witness swallowed in stillness. Okay, so you could sit in stillness. Some more magic, more ribbon magic. Okay, so in the olden days, they used to weave knots. You would tie a wish into a thread. Then you could tie another one, and then they would keep that in their pocket, and they would know what each knot was for. So do some ribbon magic, tying knots and tying your wishes into the silk of a ribbon. Keep that with you again for the next 6 weeks, and then perhaps you would want to tie your wish to loosely on a branch as a clootie. I'm just using this sort of, you probably can't see it very well. You know, tying it to a branch and leaving it for the universe. So there you go. Doing some knotting magic and ribbon magic. Okay. The veil is for many things. It can be the living and the dead, but the veil can also be, you know, a portal. Just, you know, we think of, you know, we have one level here, we'd have one over there, the sort of veil is in the middle. They say, everything we say, Julia, is somebody's opinion, okay? I don't think, I think that because the earth is a mirror image of each other, so let's say in the northern hemisphere, Beltane is here, it's not going to be just, you know, it's going to be a line through to Samhain. They're both going to be the same, I believe, because the globe is equal. It is round. It is a sphere. So I don't necessarily believe that one is stronger than the other, but many do. But that is just my perspective. Okay. A lot of people at these times of year, Samhain and Beltane, would walk a labyrinth. Okay. I will do a little video with this, but they would walk a labyrinth at this time of year. When you are entering the labyrinth and walking to the middle, and there's many different types of labyrinth. This is a tree one. As you're walking in, you decide what you want to get rid of in your life. And you keep walking in, thinking, I want to get rid of impatience. I want to get rid of this crappy job. You know, whatever. You go to stand in the middle, you recalibrate, ground, take a couple of breaths in. When you start walking outwards, you are asking for the things that you want to be brought towards you. Okay? And that is path working, walking a path working. So you could draw it on a bit of paper, you know, it's just 7 spirals, and finger walk it or draw it. You could go and put stones out in your yard, couldn't you? And you could walk the labyrinth out there between the stones, or little candles. You know, there are many different ways to do a labyrinth. A lot of churches have labyrinths, you know, especially cathedrals. I think Chartres in France. So look out for labyrinths and do that path working at the time. Okay. You're very welcome, Jamelia. I know we're all on different timelines, and Australia is already happening tomorrow when I normally post things. So I'm glad that we could meet today. Okay. Right. Yes, yeah, Jesuit retreats are great places. I've just been actually watching a pilgrimage program. That is one of the things I'm going to look into. I want to do the Santiago de Compostela. one day I shall do that huge pilgrimage. Okay. Maria Poppins from England. I will get you a Beltane card, Maria. Maria, you have the Sacred Waters card. So I'm just going to read your message to you. And it says, drunken by the swell of the sea, I can feel the blanket of her embrace, unafraid of the presence, releasing the cords. I call her in, I call her deeply within. Okay. So drunken by the swell of the seas, that could be a meaning that you're quite emotional at the moment. I can feel the blanket of her embrace, the embrace of that water around you, about being unafraid of the presence and releasing the cords. You call in this transformation. So are there cords you need to cut at the moment? Are there unhealthy habits? You know, perhaps you are smoking and you want to give up smoking. Perhaps you have an unhealthy relationship with somebody you know that is all take, and no give. They're never there when you want them. Is that friendship in your best interest, or does that cord need to be cut? You know, have a think about what is not relevant in your life anymore, but perhaps what you keep procrastinating over. And then again, you can do this on Beltane, or on full moon, you can do those cord cuttings. But I would say really make sure, if it is people you are wanting to cut cords with, you know, make sure it is a last resort. There are so many people ghosting people and not getting to the crux of the matter, and those people who've been ghosted don't know what they've done. So I would say speak to people about the issues and see if you can work it out. Cord cutting is seriously a last resort, okay? We have to stop being ostriches and sticking our head in the sand. We need to work out relationships, okay? It's a two-way street, isn't it? Talking and communicating. Okay, so I'm going to leave that with you. Bunny in Australia. Okay, we have another Samhain energy card for Bunny. What does Bunny need to know? For those of you who've come in, you need to tell me what hemisphere you live in, because we are working with seasonal cards today. This is for Bunny in Australia, in the south of our beautiful, sweet green and blue earth. So she is heading into Halloween time, Samhain. The card that has come out for her is Black Cat. Look at that witch. She is sitting in all her power with her familiar around her and all of those lights. I'm going to read your message, Bunny. There's a curious journey into the depths of the unknown, hidden so deep that only the brave will gracefully return with light in their eyes and shadow leading home. Again, it's about shadow work, sorting out the bits that you don't want anymore and moving through to the light and heading back out into the world, feeling fresher, feeling more shiny, and coming to terms with those things that either you don't like, but you're going to keep, all the things that you don't like and you're going to get rid of. Okay, so I'm going to leave that with you and have a beautiful winter down there. Hello, Dr. Lynn Pharaoh. Somebody else I know. Let's pull you a card. Okay, so Dr. Lynn Pharaoh, sacrifice. I'm going to read your message. You must find the ebb and flow of life within your very self. Embracing it all is embracing truth. And that's what we've been talking about. You know, liking those bits about you that you don't like, liking those little foibles that you have, liking warts and all. What have you had to sacrifice to get where you are? I know your story. I know you sacrificed a lot. But you've learnt through those sacrifices, and you will get chances again, if not in this life, in another life. What goes around comes around. We all have these ties, don't we, as well, with people. Have you ever met someone you think, I know you, but you don't know them? Is that some kind of karmic tie? I weirdly, randomly looked on one of my family's Facebook profile, and I saw that they knew someone in Dubai, and I was being really nosy, and I thought, oh, who is that? And it turned out it was someone that I knew. And who knew that we are moving in separate circles, but we know the same people. So the world is a very small place. There are always ties. And I wondered about my friend who I realized that me and my cousin know. And I thought, is there some kind of karma to work out with that person in this life? Perhaps the person in another life gave me a cup of water as I was a thirsty traveler, and now I'm repaying them in this life. So think of all these ties and these unfinished karmic debts that we can finish today. And it might just be a learning curve. And I know that's really boring and mundane, but such is life sometimes. Yasmin in Jerusalem. Okay, Yasmin. Let's choose a card for you. From the Beltane deck, it's about boundaries. Okay, I'm just going to show you that before I read your message. Look at her dancing her boundaries around her, creating that circle. You can do that with ecstatic dance and trance, but it's about working on those boundaries. And it says, boundaries are sewn into the parts of who you are, for they are not to be crossed. So have you crossed over into someone else's boundaries, or are they crossing over into yours? If this card is coming up for you, I would suggest you work on your own protection. It might be that you have been studying and your spiritual level is going up a little bit. So as our light gets brighter, we attract moths to the flame. So just work on your protection, work on your boundaries. You probably need to do something extra. So whatever your routine is now, keep it the same, but just add another extra layer. Okay. All these messages are moving quick. Right, let me just scroll back a little bit. And yeah, some people will have some of these messages resonating for them as well. Okay. Oh. Okay. Elisa in Norway. Let's pick you. It's cold there, is it? It's not brilliant here. It's usually I've got my little house warm coat on. Okay, Elisa Marie Hansted. What does she need to know for Beltane? It should be thawing out for you now, surely, because you all go absolutely berserk at the solstice, don't you? Have a bonfire. Well, they heard you. Look at that. Have a fire and warm yourself up, my dear. Let's read what it says. And Beltane and Samhain are fire festivals. They're cross festivals. Okay. So the message for our friend in Norway says, it is through remembering that you will wake the ritual of your existence and be reborn in mighty celebration. So you need to hold a fire ritual at some time, and you can write down what you don't want anymore on little pieces of paper, or you could make our little plats and our wish things and our knots and throw that into the fire. You can also take handfuls of herbs. You can blow what you don't want into them and then throw that into the fire. So lots of different ways we can work with fire. Or you can imagine stepping into a fire bowl with either violet flame or other colored fires and stand in it in meditation and have a meditation and a cleansing through fire. Okay. So these are very beautiful decks. For those who've just come in, these are called the Seasons of a Witch. And I only pulled some out for Beltane. We're going to be using these over the next sort of until about probably the 4th or 5th of May. I'm going to be using these decks, and I only posted them for the Northern Hemisphere today. So it'll be Southern Hemisphere tomorrow, and then I'll just pull one card a day. So make sure you keep checking on the channel because I try to post every day. Okay, so those are the decks we're using. Seasons of a Witch. Great little oracle decks with lots of seasonal information, spells, etc. you could do. Okay. Nadia in Scotland, bonnie Scotland. Nadia, what does Nadia in Scotland need to know? If you want cards, people, put the North or the South Hemisphere. Nadia, chanting. Hear me loud, hear me roar, for I am here in my truth. So why don't you make a little affirmation for yourself? You know, a little ditty that you can remember very quickly and that you can repeat. And that can be your little soul mantra for this time of year. So I'm a great one for chanting. I cycle around with a bike trailer with a lawnmower and everything else on. And as I'm cycling, I sing and chant. It might be Hindu chants. Om Namah Shiva is for energy. If I need to calm down, I will do the Gayatri mantra. But it could be just something that I want to, you know, instill into myself. And repetition is the way to do it. If you really want to do it the Hindu way, you would get your mala beads. Where are my mala beads? They're up on the top shelf. And you would count 108. And you see some people on the train doing this in the morning. They're obviously doing their mantras, but chanting. So get creative as we are at the creative time, Nadia, and make yourself a chant. Okay. Okay, I'm looking for those people who have put locations. Northern Hemisphere, Philadelphia. The famous Ursa Major. Ooh, named yourself after the Great Bear. Or the Arthur. And some people believe that the Great Bear was King Arthur. Okay, Arthur means the bear. Okay, Ursa Major. What does the famous Ursa Major need now? Growth, Ursa Major. I'm going to hold this up and then I'm going to read the message. Have you got a hill to climb? That growth, growing those muscles after that hard climb. Let me read the message. Inside myself, I've sown beauty with wounds, which speaks of my immortality in the expansive, eternal song, softly bellowing in spirit. So inside myself, I've sown beauty with wounds. This goes back to what I used to actually say about your heart. We have lots of cracks. Our heart's been broken umpteen times. And I want you just to imagine, let's get a nice little round crystal here. Just imagine that this is a Japanese cup, and I dropped it on the floor and it broke into lots of little pieces, like your heart, and they repair it with glue and gold so that this would actually have all these beautiful gold veins, and it would look even more beautiful than it does now. So sew those wounds up, learn from them, and sing your cheerful song. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and you will learn, even if you don't learn tomorrow about it. Maybe 20 years down the line, you think, yeah, it was awful, but I did learn how to stand on my own 2 feet after that, or whatever. So I'm going to leave that with you, Ursa Major. Growth. And if you're in Philadelphia, I don't know how cold it is still there, but spring must be starting to spring. So grow with the spring. Oh, Night Song Phoenix, I know who you are. Question, do you really want to know about political uncertainty? I think that's a tarot card question. The whole world is politically unsafe at the moment, and there's no good about worrying about the future or regretting the past. Just put one foot in front of the other each day, create your own little bubble, turn the news off if you do not want to hear. I think I know your political persuasions. If you do not want to hear what keeps being said, don't fucking listen. Excuse my French. I've had to stop turning over. First thought in the morning, God, what's he said now? You know, I've stopped doing that now because we can't do anything about it. We just have to ride the storm. Okay, let's roll a tarot dice for that political question. And I know we're talking America for Light Song, so I'm gonna roll this. It's gonna clatter. We have temperance, which is doing exactly what I said on the tin. Balancing, riding the storm out. Okay. You know, we just can't do anything because 1 minute, you know, he wakes up and says this, and then later on in the day he says something else. That's why none of our political countries can work anything out at the moment, because it's just throwaway comments and tweets. So I suggest to you to turn all those news channels off. It's easier said than done. I'm very up with the news because I come from a NATO family, but just create the people you love to have around you. If talking politics makes you argue, say that that is a banned subject. Okay, so okay. Right, I think now I'm going to do a collective reading. So I'm going to do 2 hemispheres, okay? Because I've been on for an hour now, and I've got to go and enjoy the rest of my holiday before I get up at 6 and go and work in the orchards. So I think we'll do a southern hemisphere for anyone who comes in. We will pick a card for the southern hemisphere, okay? And we will also pick one for the northern hemisphere. So I'm just going to take a couple of breaths in, tune in to everyone who would possibly be interested, because sometimes these blanket collective readings are very difficult to interpret. Okay. Okay, in the southern hemisphere, it is apples. Okay, I'm going to read the message before I talk about apples and those beautiful birch or rowan trunks behind, tree trunks. Okay, apples, to taste one must swallow it whole, and beneath the satin flame hides drowning waters. So I'm going to talk about apples for a little bit. So apples. At the equinox, the priestesses of Avalon, who have many apples orchards there, they would do a 3-day apple cleanse. So they would ingest nothing but apples and apple juice, and it was thought to be a cleansing. Another thing about apples. Let's say this is an apple and I'm going to cut it in half across the equator. So that's not vertically, that is horizontally. And let's say I opened it up, you would see seeds in the shape of a pentagram, okay? It is thought to be aligned with Venus because Venus moves in the shape of a pentagram, depending in if she moves backwards or forwards, depending if it is a morning star or an evening star. Okay, so that is why apples are used in love spells. Okay, so apples, we also have these birch for cleansing. White birch, silver birch essential oil is very antiseptic as well. And if it is the rowan tree, because they have very similar trunks, that would be fortifying you against getting a cold. They would actually make a kind of a syrup out of rowan, and to the robust people, that is probably from about the age of 12 to about the age of 60, they would take the syrup because it is toxic. Children and the elderly, they would thread berries and make a necklace around them because they didn't want them to ingest the poisons. So it's about keeping yourself clean. It is about fortifying yourself up for the winter time ahead of you. I wouldn't advise that you swallow an apple whole. You'll be choking. But, you know, what is beneath the satin flames hides drowning waters. So maybe you're kidding yourself, maybe you're not. But if you have got woes that are holding you back, try and compartmentalize. You know, I'm not always one about talking problems, and you know, talking with therapists does not always help for everyone. Right, Northern Hemisphere, you're going to love this one. It is orgasm. As I said, Beltane was called the quickening time of the year. The message for those in the Northern Hemisphere says, thrust your body, elevate your spirit, open the gates to your renewal. So that is about getting out and doing those things, isn't it, that make you happy, that you really want to do. Those in the Southern Hemisphere are starting to hygge down. Our Swedes and Norwegians and Finns will know that word. It's cozying up under the duvet, reading that book, staying in your pajamas for the dark time of the year. Those in the Northern Hemisphere, what are you waiting for? You've got to get up and you've got to get out and about and start doing things, or you will have wasted the summer. We have the B here for fertility of mind. You know, we can get just the same effects of an orgasm in the mind if we're doing something we really love. For me at the moment, I'm not my friend Lorraine said, oh, I missed you at meditation. I'm just not feeling it at the moment. I don't want to meditate for myself. So I'm playing music for myself. And that, for me at the moment, gives me that orgasmic feeling and makes me happy. So I'm going to leave these 2 cards with you. Northern Hemisphere, making those things matter, doing what you like, getting that spiritual fulfillment out of those projects. Southern Hemisphere, having an apple cleanse, fortifying yourself up for the quiet, dark time of the year. And I'm going to leave that with you. Now, let's close this down. I've enjoyed this so much. I really enjoy it with Cara. I'm going to be online with Cara next Sunday, and I'm going to try and start doing these on Sundays. Every other Sunday, we're doing full and new moons with Cara, and I'm going to try and get on at some time in between. I've so enjoyed it. I'm now learning to work this out. An apple cleanse, yeah, Nathan, is eating and drinking nothing but apples to have a cleanse. It's what the priests in and priestesses in Glastonbury used to do in old times. Okay, right. Let's just have some kosher chimes to wash over you. And I want you to take a couple of breaths in and breathe down to your feet. We've mentioned a few trees. We've had the oak, we've had apples, we've had rowans. But I want you to imagine looking down a tree trunk and grounding. We've had lots of cards for transformation. Remember, this time next week, let me just check the moon diary, will be a full moon. No, it won't. It will be a new moon. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm getting my moons mixed up. Next week is new moon. In fact, it will be a dark moon. So it's a good time to go into yourself, do some clearing. And you can come and watch me at 7:30 with Cara doing meditations and card readings next week. But now just breathe down into the ground. We thank the guides and the helpers, and I thank all of you for showing up today. It's such an honor for me to read and do healings with you. I know I'm not doing as much healing at the moment, but there are 800 videos for you to look through. I've just kind of run out of ideas at the moment. That's why they don't seem to be so planned, and a bit more when I'm feeling it, I'll get on and do it. And I think sometimes the spontaneity of just doing it when I feel that power is the best thing. So that's what I'm kind of doing at the moment, but getting more into the lives. So I'm just going to draw the Master Daikumyo to bring each and every one of you harmony for this coming week. Daikumyo, Daikumyo, Daikumyo. Take that breath in. And wiggle your fingers and your toes. And thank you for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your Easter weekend. And don't feel guilty about the chocolate or the Easter baskets. It's permission at this time to gorge on chocolate. Enjoy.